Deng Majek has been sentenced to 29 years minimum for murdering Rhiannon Whyte in October last year. The Sudanese asylum seeker attacked Rhiannon with a screwdriver on a train platform in Warsaw after she'd finished work at the hotel where he was staying. Our national reporter Jack Carson looks back at the case and a warning: this story does contain some distressing content.
This is the moment police arrested Deng Majek in his hotel room after he'd attacked a young mother waiting for her train home. Rhiannon Whyte died from her injuries 3 days later. Deng Majek, a Sudanese asylum seeker, had been staying at the Park Inn Hotel where Rhiannon worked, cleaning and serving food. On the 20th of October 2024, CCTV shows Majek staring at Rhiannon when she was handing out snacks. During the trial, a witness told Wolverhampton Crown Court they felt scared and worried he was going to do something that night. They even informed the hotel's security staff they all felt intimidated. After Rhiannon's shift ended at 11 p.m, she walked across the road to the Bescot train station. Unbeknown to her, Majek had waited outside in the car park and started to follow. Wearing what the prosecution described as distinctive clothing, he gradually got closer. He walks up the steps to the station. Seconds later, he attacks Rhiannon on the train platform. She sustained more than 20 stab wounds and died 3 days later from a brainstem injury. Majek is seen on CCTV leaving the train station. He throws Rhiannon's phone into the river, walks to a shop to buy alcohol and returns to the hotel. Detective Chief Inspector Paul Atwell from the British Transport Police called it a cowardly attack.
It was a brutal, cowardly and unprovoked attack on a vibrant, selfless young woman who had her whole life ahead of her. He has appeared completely unbothered, bored even, throughout this trial, much to the distress of Rhiannon's poor family.
As the emergency services arrived, footage recovered by police shows the Sudanese asylum seeker laughing and dancing to music in the hotel car park. The prosecution told the jury Majek was clearly excited by what he had done. Forensic scientists found Rhiannon's blood on Majek's jacket, trousers, shoes and jewellery. DNA recovered from swabs of his fingernails were also a match for Ms Whyte. Jurors at Wolverhampton Crown Court deliberated for just 2 hours and 5 minutes before reaching a unanimous guilty verdict. Speaking outside court, Rhiannon's sister Alex said they'd seen no remorse from Majek.
There is no end to the pain or suffering we have had to endure or continue to experience. On that horrific day, our precious Rhiannon was shown no mercy. Throughout this trial, we have been given no reason as to why he chose Rhiannon, no accountability for his actions, and no remorse. She fought for her life and to save herself from this sick, twisted, and cowardly human.
Rhiannon Whyte was a mother, an auntie, a sister, and a daughter whose life was taken in the most horrific way. Jack Carson, GB News.
We can now speak with Jack Carson, who has been following the case there at Coventry Crown Court. Jack, welcome to the show. A case so barbaric, so horrific, and it makes us ask so many questions. Rhiannon Whyte was caring for this man, working in the hotel, paid for by taxpayers, feeding him, tending him, and yet still was brutally murdered. It's a breathtaking case, Jack Carson, I think one that asks many questions about modern Britain.
Certainly does, Martin. It asks those questions of just how this was able to happen. And of course, Majek was the only person seen on CCTV, the only person followed on CCTV following Ms Whyte. And yet through all of this, he is rejected that it was him that committed this murder, even after that guilty verdict. As we heard from his defence counsel, Gurdeep Garcha KC, he said that when he was interviewed by probation officers in late November, the defendant denied he was guilty of the offences of which he had been convicted and retained his innocence. In that sentencing hearing before Mr Justice Saul passed down the sentencing, he said that we offer no mitigation in any aspect of acknowledgement, regret or remorse. Deng Majek does not have any remorse, as you heard from there, for killing Rhiannon Whyte, and that is what has been so difficult, I think, emotionally for the family to deal with, that he has dragged them through, of course, this trial, and still now does not have any remorse for exactly what he has done. Sentencing today to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 29 years. With the over 400 days that he's already served in custody, that minimum term comes out at 27 years and 264 days before, of course, it can only then be reviewed for him to be released on licence, and it's the likelihood that he will never ever see the light of day again. But sentencing today, Mr Justice Sewell said it was with the greatest courage that Rhiannon had tried to defend herself against what he called was a frenzied brutality, saying that the evidence against you was overwhelming, and yet you continue to deny that you were the assailant, saying in the course of your long journey from Sudan, you passed through Italy, Germany and France, and that your papers in Germany had said your birthday was in 1998. It is one of the reasons why getting to this sentencing has been so long. It was meant to take place in December, it's pushed back to today because there had to be medical assessments, age assessments over just how old Majek is. Through the trial, he had claimed that he was 19, and of course there are different sentencing guidelines for somebody between the ages of 18 to 25 than there are for those above it. But after considering those age assessments, of which the court was told in the sentencing today that Majek did not participate in, refusing to answer the majority of questions put to him about his age. We heard previously he'd refused bone density testing as well. The judge had it in the greatest likelihood that he was born in 1998 and deemed Majek to be 26, therefore being able to sentence him to a longer minimum term of 29 years, which is what he got today. Also in that sentencing, in his sentencing remarks, Mr Justice Sewell said, "You brought a weapon to the scene and used it in the murder. I am sure you brought it to the scene with the intent of murdering Rhiannon." And as I was saying, it is the impact on her family where this has had, as you can imagine, just the greatest toll. Speaking today, Donna Whyte, the mother of Rhiannon, said, "My question is simply why? What possible reason did you have to take the life of this kind person?" Saying her name will not be forgotten, she will not be a distant memory, meanwhile you will be forgotten. And she called him an evil nightmare that will be put aside. Of course, the most shocking thing really in the trial was the video evidence that was received and put to the jury, where you could see Majek dancing in the car park of the Park-Inn Hotel in Walsall, where he was staying in that asylum accommodation, as the emergency lights and the emergency services attended to Rhiannon Whyte on the train platform. Of course, she died from those 23 stab wounds she received from Majek 3 days later from a brainstem injury. And just to finish, Martin, it has to be said, the most emotional thing apart came from Alex, her sister's victim impact statement, where she says her son, Rhiannon Whyte's 6-year-old son, wants to become a brain surgeon so that he could try and save people like Rhiannon where she couldn't be.
Yes, it's just those details. It's those details that really get you. That's what really gets you. Jack Dawson, thank you very much there from Coventry Crown Court. And let's now speak with the Pink Ladies activist, Aimee Clayton. Aimee, welcome to the show. I understand you were also there at the Crown Court today. I don't know what to say about this. These cases are so challenging to talk about. You hear about a 6-year-old kid who wants to grow up to be a brain surgeon now to try and save people's lives. Clearly has a full comprehension of what's happened to his mother. How do you get over that? How do you come to terms with the notion that a mum who was working in an asylum hotel to try and help asylum seekers, she wasn't a problem. She was an angel trying to help. She's been brutally, savagely killed by an asylum seeker who's a compulsive and serial liar, a criminal, a psychopath, a scumbag. Yeah. And Aimee, time and time again, people like you, Pink Ladies, who are saying, enough is enough. You're called racist. You're called a fascist. How are you feeling about this contemptible case today?
I'm glad it's over. I'd like to say relieved for the family, but you can't be relieved when they're going through what they're going through, and they'll be going through that for the rest of their lives. This monster's been sentenced to 29 years. They've got to live with that forever. And I've looked into that little 6-year-old boy's eyes, and it's heartbreaking.
Because there's the realisation that Mummy's gone. And Mummy's gone because I think we've failed. This country has
have
failed. We've failed women. We've failed Rhiannon Whyte. We've failed that boy. We've failed the family.
Absolutely.
What do we do about this? This has got to stop.
This needs to stop. The government needs to start putting the UK citizens first, the women, the children, and the men. This is happening to men too. It's not just ladies and children that are being raped and that are being murdered. It's got to stop. And
Aimee.
Yes.
Aimee, I can hear the emotion in your voice. You know, you're going to get me going. But, you know, you've got to keep going. We're certainly going to keep going. Rhiannon Whyte, we've got to say that name. We're not going to forget that name.
We're never going to stop saying that name, and we will be there to support Siobhan, Rhiannon's mother, and the rest of the family. We'll be supporting her all the way through for as long as she needs us, forever.
Okay, well, look, let's stay in touch. Thank you for your fight. Thanks for talking to me today. Appreciate your time. Aimee Clayton, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up next...